We are still asking the question, is COVID-19 man-made or naturally occurring? There are two reasons for asking this question. First, the depopulation policy towards Africa by some Western nations has made Africans to suspect anything and everything. They have become suspicious of policies, vaccines, and drugs that are brought from outside Africa. So anything that could cause mass death in Africa is being considered as the implementation of the depopulation policy. Second, it is hard to believe how intelligent and smart COVID-19 has become. Can you believe that this virus recognizes and eliminates its victims by age, nationality, skin color, and geographic location? It also has different versions of itself for each country. The strain in Brazil is different from the strain in Pakistan, in South Africa, in China, or United States of America. What an intelligent virus. Welcome to another edition of Security Africa. We are still talking about COVID-19. We want to know its origin because Africa views it as a weapon of mass depopulation. Recall in the last episode, Western nations accused China of manufacturing COVID-19 in their Wuhan lab. China was quick to counter all the accusations, and they went further to accuse United States of America of bringing the virus into China, perhaps during the World Military Games that took place in October 2019 in China. The origin of COVID-19 is being drowned by accusations and counter-accusations, thereby putting concerned Africans into confusion and dilemma. But we will not be confused anymore in Africa. Africa was naive and in dilemma during the outbreak of HIV, AIDS, and Ebola in the yesteryears. This time around, we know what is going on. So in this edition, we have decided to look elsewhere for the answers to the source of COVID-19. Secondly, we want to find out if this virus was man-made or naturally occurring. If it is man-made, who are those that are involved in making this COVID-19? Coming up next. Welcome back. We are going to interrogate new sources of information to find out if this virus was man-made or naturally occurring. If man-made, who made it? Our first port of call is the magazine called The State of the Nation magazine, dated 9th March 2020. Look at the background page of this magazine. It states clearly, this virus was created at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and they published the highlights of their creation in November 2015. This is getting very interesting. Way back 2015. I think we're getting somewhere now. So let's search for the highlights of this lab creation and find out if there's any information of interest for Africans. Yes, of course. The 18-page report was published in the United States Department of Health and Human Services Public Access. They published it as author's manuscript. You may be asking, what were they researching on? Get it clear now. They were researching on the disease potentials of coronavirus found in Chinese bats. Very, very clear. They were clear about what they wanted to do. Look at the date of the reports, the authors, and abstract of the author's manuscripts. Before going to the abstract of the report, which is very, very important, because that summarizes what they did in that research. Let us first of all study the nationality of the scientists involved in the creation of this virus. Remember that the United States of America, Western nations, and China denied ever having the faintest idea about the creation of COVID-19. Perhaps the nationality of the scientists, their departments and organizations they work for, could reveal a lot about the origin of this virus. Look at the departments. You will see departments like epidemiology, immunology, toxicology, cell biology and physiology, lung and chest fibrosis. Others are biomedicine, cancer immunology, special pathogens and biosafety. What a team, what a combination of experts. Can you begin to understand what is going on? The combination of experts, putting them together to work on the epidemic potentials of coronavirus reveals the intentions of those that sponsored this project. When coronavirus is researched by epidemiologists, immunologists, toxicologists, cancer and lung fibrosis specialists, that virus will be transformed into a weapon of mass death. How can these specialists work on one virus? What do you think they will produce? Another coronavirus? You must be joking. You can now understand why their final product cannot be vaccinated. Why the final product is toxic to the body, can destroy the immune system and attack the lungs. The combination of these scientists is very, very frightening. When you combine these expertise, they will produce a killer virus. Now, let's look at the department they work for. They work for the University of North Carolina, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, Harvard Medical School, Switzerland Institute of Microbiology, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Hold your peace. The truth is gradually coming out. Let us look at their nationality first. You can see the American scientists, the Chinese and the Swiss working together in this project. You can see the production of this virus was a teamwork between the Western nations and the Chinese. Have you seen the same Wuhan lab in China working together with US universities, working with US Food and Drug Administration, working together with Swiss pharmaceutical companies on what? On coronavirus. So Africa, you can see what is going on now. So the accusation and counter-accusations between the Western nations and China were just a diversionary tactics. Contrary to the media camouflage put out there that the West is blaming China for the current pandemic, the Western nations and China have been collaborating in the creation of this dangerous virus. Let's see the areas they have been working together. First, let us start with funding. The University of North Carolina research on the pandemic potentials of coronavirus was funded fully by the United States government agencies. This can be found in the acknowledgement page of the author's manuscript, as you have seen. Research in this manuscript was supported by grants from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and the National Institute of Aging of the National Institute of Health, National Natural Science Foundation of China, Human Airway Epithelial Cultures, National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease. The authors also recognized the Department of Genetics, University of North Carolina, and the Department of Microbiology and Immunology of the University of Texas Medical Branch. So, the scientists themselves have revealed who sponsored them in this research. It is not hidden. So, you can see clearly that the United States have been working with the Chinese for years on coronavirus. What could be the interest of these agencies in this research? Let's start with the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease. What could this agency be doing with coronavirus research? Was the speed and rate of infection taken into account when designing this virus? I'm just asking questions. This is because within days, the virus spread to all continents in the world except Antarctica. It was even found in submerged submarines. Very, very surprising. Number 2, the National Institute of Aging and National Institute of Health. What has aging got to do with the disease potentials of coronavirus? Was age limit taken into consideration during the design of this virus? If not, what has this department got to do with the disease potentials of coronavirus? Remember, the number of old people that died from COVID-19 in Italy and around the world was so high. Remember also, your health officials do warn that those above 60 are vulnerable to COVID-19. So, you can now know why this is happening. Number 3, the National Natural Science Foundation of China. Number 4, the human airway epithelial cultures. So, what is the human airway system got to do with this virus research? Has it got anything to do with the breathing problems that victims have? Was this virus designed to destroy the airway system of human beings? I'm just asking questions. Number 5, the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease. Can you remember health officials warned that those that have diabetes or other chronic diseases are at risk of contracting coronavirus? Was diabetes and other chronic diseases factored into the design of this virus? If not, what is the interest of this department in this research? Number 6, the Department of Genetics, University of North Carolina. What is the importance of genetics in the disease potentials of coronavirus? One may ask. Was human genetics and DNA taken into consideration in its design? Can this be why the strains in China is different from the strain in Italy, from the strain in Iran, Pakistan, and so on and so forth? Number 7, Department of Microbiology and Immunology, University of Texas Medical Branch. Remember, doctors keep emphasizing that you should enhance your immune system. So, what is the role of microbiology and immunology in the disease potentials of coronavirus? Was it designed to attack the human immune system? You can now know why those who have low immunity are vulnerable to this virus. Again, according to the State of the Nation magazine, China and the United States of America have been giving grants to Consequently, a Chinese scientist, to research on what? On the disease potentials of coronavirus. Remember the name, Consequently. From 2014, Consequently was the recipient of a number of U.S. government grants, as well as grants from the National Basic Research Program of China and the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the National Natural Science Foundation of China, and from the Strategic Priority Research Program of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. To do what? To assist in funding research into coronavirus. So, where does Consequently work? She works at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, China. You cannot connect the dots. Again, in a report published by the Daily Mail newspaper, the Wuhan Institute of Virology was conducting coronavirus experiments on mammals with funds received from the United States of America, National Institute of Health. Responsible for the biomedical and public health research, the National Institute of Health has been listed as a partner by the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The other American institutes that have partnered with the research lab include the University of Alabama, the University of North Carolina, Texas EcoHealth Alliance, Harvard University, and the United States National Wildlife Federation. The Wuhan Institute of Virology, which conducts experiments on bats, has more than 1,500 strains of deadly viruses stored and specializes in research of the most dangerous pathogens, in particular, the viruses carried by bats. So the funding and collaboration on the weaponization of coronavirus into a pandemic pathogen between the United States and China were massive and not hidden. If this had been happening, why the open confrontation between the United States, China over the origin of COVID-19? Did the Obama administration not brief the Trump administration? Or maybe Mr. Trump was not aware of what the previous administrations did with the Chinese. To put the record straight, the US administration before Trump administration may have been working together with the Chinese on the pandemic potentials of coronavirus, unknown to Mr. Trump. From the body language of Mr. Trump, his utterances and actions, it's like he's not in support of the collaboration nor the continued research on the pandemic potentials or dangerous pathogens that could be used for the depopulation of Africa.
Thank you, Mr. President. U.S. intelligence is saying this week that the coronavirus likely came from a level 4 lab in Wuhan. There's also another report that the NIH, under the Obama administration in 2015, gave that lab $3.7 million in a grant. Why would the U.S. give a grant like that to China?
The Obama administration gave them a grant of $3.7 million. I've been hearing about that. And we've instructed that if any grants are going to that area, we're looking at it literally about an hour ago, and also early in the morning. We will end that grant very quickly, but it was granted quite a while ago. They were granted a substantial amount of money. We're going to look at it and take a look, but I understand it was a number of years ago, right?
So you are.
When did you hear? When did you hear was the grant was made?
2015.
2015. Who was president then? I wonder. Okay.
Did you see that? So for U.S., Western nations and China to be trading accusations over the manufacture of the virus is not only insulting, but is ridiculous. Apart from the cooperation in funding, the United States and China were also exchanging dangerous pathogens to be researched on. In one instance, the Chinese refused to return dangerous flu virus samples given to them by the Americans. According to the New York Times, dated 27 August 2018, for over a year, the Chinese government has withheld lab samples of rapidly evolving influenza virus from the United States, specimens needed to develop vaccines and treatments, according to federal health officials. Despite persistent requests from government officials and research institutes, China has not provided the samples of the dangerous virus, a type of bird flu called H7N9. In the past, such exchanges have been mostly routine under the rules established by the World Health Organization. Did you see that? Even the World Health Organization was aware that this type of dangerous practices were going on between the Americans and the Chinese. Africa, you can now understand why the World Health Organization told you to prepare for the worst at the outbreak of COVID-19. Can you remember that warning? The Americans, the Western nations, and the Chinese were aware of what was to come. Africa was not consulted because in this game, Africa is the menu on the table. Are you surprised about that? Don't be surprised until you see the other areas of collaboration coming up in the next episode. So press the subscribe button so that you don't miss it. Have you subscribed? Thank you for subscribing. So see you in part 2 of this episode, and thank you for watching.